Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly video game podcast releasing every Thursday. I am Alex Stadnick, and I am honored to be joined by the illustrious Alex Van Aken. Hello, sir.
Hello, Alex. Thank you for having me. Episode 601, the start of a new era. Yeah, man, I can't wait for episode 700, we'll be there before you know it.
Don't say that. Time already goes much too quickly. Yeah. Also, what's
maybe
the new
I'll
era?
have maybe I'll have a kid by then. I don't know. Where are we gonna be at episode 700?
So that's 2 years from now, right?
One of us could be dead. Anything can happen between now and then. It's kind of scary to think about.
Join us each week alongside a rotating crew of GI editors and special guests from around the industry as we bring you the latest news, reviews, and big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. We have a special one this week, folks. The hits keep coming because we have an old friend in town. You may remember this upstart game journalist who's just trying to break into the industry. We got one Joe Juba back with us for the GI show. Joe, hello.
Hello. Yeah, when you were doing the intro, I realized GI editors and special guests. I have fallen in both of those categories now.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you?
But yeah, it's great to be back and see and hear all of your voices / faces.
Yeah, it's so good to have you back. I'm excited for today's episode. Just a little inside baseball, right? We're recording this a little early because Alex is doing a super secret work trip that he's very excited for. I'm bumming on the beach right now when you're listening to this. I'm on vacation right now. It's a beautiful thing. So, but I can't forget about the rest of the beautiful panel here. The hosts, they made time for us, folks. The hosts of Video Gameography, your favorite video game history podcasts, are here. Marcus Stewart.
Hi. Hey, decided to pencil you guys into our busy schedule. I'm glad we were able to make it, work out. And I'm excited to turn this episode into maybe episode 60 fun.
Oh.
Am I right?
Well done. That was
60.
That was earned.
How staging me already?
No, that's next week, Joe. And then, of course, the king of late night, pride of Milwaukee, John Carson. Hello, sir.
Hey, I am also sitting on a beach, but it's a beach in Portland.
Ooh.
Wow. Everybody's on vacation this week.
Wait, is it the good Portland or Maine?
The good Portland. Yeah, the weird one. Yeah.
Hold on. Have you ever been to Portland, Maine, Joe Juba?
Of course not.
It's a beautiful place.
This is the most times I've heard Portland, Maine, mentioned in one day ever. It's been twice. But yeah,
best lobster roll I've ever had. Portland, Maine. Check it out.
Same thing happened to me when I took a trip to Portland once for a GI story, and it was whenever I tell anyone that I was in Portland, which one? And it actually, I literally forgot there was another one until I gave until I kind of laughed because I thought someone was asked. It's like, oh, trick question, and they're like, no, or Portland, Maine. I'm like, oh, right, no, the real one,
the good one, yeah.
I literally think I'm the biggest fan of Portland, Maine, who lives outside of Maine. I don't know anyone else.
So you're a fake fan, then?
A fake fan, exactly. Yeah, I don't actually live there. Jay has never dunked on me harder than when he asked me when I was going on vacation there. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Portland, Maine. And then he just got quiet and he's like, well, have fun with that.
Wait. That's when you had lobster rolls for a week, right?
And it's seriously
you can get lobster rolls other places besides just Portland.
No,
Maine.
but that was
Not
the
here.
week leading up. Every daily stand up was like, yeah, I'm going to Portland, Maine, gonna get those lobster rolls.
That's
I bet you
tomorrow.
could go to the real Portland and have a great time and also get a lobster roll from the Pacific.
Let's find out. I will find out for science if we can get a lobster roll.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, if you're going to New England, you get a lobster roll.
Right.
Especially Maine. So I can, if that's what you're going for, then I'm down for that. I don't care what else is there.
Right.
Okay.
Which is nothing, I guess.
To any members of the audience, I seriously have nothing against Portland, Maine. I'm sure it's a lovely place with lovely people.
Yeah, you could hear them mobilizing against you.
I've never been to either, so.
Yeah, it's a dope college town, too. Anyways, for all 6 people who decided to keep listening past this point, thank you. Joe, you have been a busy man since leaving GI. What have you been off doing your own thing a year now?
Yeah,
Almost?
it's just a little over a year at this point. So yeah, I mean, like I said when I left, part of what I was doing was lending some support to my family. So I'm still doing some of that, but I've also been able to sort of keep my toes dipped in the gaming industry pool in a way, which has been a lot of fun. On one hand, I've been doing some consulting stuff, which is, obviously not a whole lot I can say about those projects because they're kind of secretive. But it's a really interesting and fun thing to do for someone who is in a games media background, because I spent all of these years writing reviews for games that essentially deal with them as a retail product. And when you're consulting on games, they're still much further back in development, anywhere between, I've done things that are anywhere between 6 months out from release to 2 or 3 years out from release.
Wow.
And it's just really interesting to sort of shift, and for me in the work I do with it, it's really interesting to shift my lens not towards what do consumers need to know about these games, but what can I say to publishers and developers that will be helpful given the sort of time and resources they have to land the planes. So, and yeah, it's just like a fun and interesting and it's one of those things that has a lot of new challenges, but also feels like a very natural extension of the kind of work I was doing at GI too. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. And it's also funny because okay, so at GI, let's say we're 9 months out from a game's release and we go do a cover story on it. And you're like, oh, wow, hardly anyone's seen this game. We're the first members of the press to go out and see it. You really feel like you're kind of on the cutting edge of the products that are coming out. And your perception of that time frame really shifts when it, like I said, you're looking at a game that they're like, okay, well, our target release is 2025 for this. And you're like, oh, there's a lot more on this end of the timeline than I was really aware of.
Right.
So yeah, but no, that's been great. And then the other thing I've been up to is, fans of GI have probably also heard of MinMax, which is the Patreon started up by Ben Hansen and some other, GI folks. And I've been sort of doing some guest spots for them here and there over the last year. We did a deep dive on Metroid on Switch last year, on Mass Effect, the legendary edition of that. And then just recently, I sort of got a more formalized role over there as what they call a contributor. So it's not one of the main. It's hard to explain exactly, but think about if you're watching a sitcom, let's say you're watching The Office. You've got your main characters like Michael and Jim and Pam and Dwight. I'm not one of the main characters.
Are you Bob Vance?
You're the David Royal?
It's funny you say that because that's exactly the example I had in my head. I was going to say Creed, and I'm like, no, I'm not as good or funny or frequent as Creed. I'm probably like Bob Vance Refrigeration.
I was going to say maybe one of them, the dudes in the truck or whatever.
The warehouse workers?
Warehouse dudes, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Moe's there?
Who? I think that's Leo. That's Leo by a wide margin.
That's 100%. Yeah. Yeah,
but anyway, so I've been so my first official project with them now is we're doing a deep dive, or a deepest dive, which is a multi-part game club, community driven. So we all play the game together, well, on our own, but then come together with comments from the community to talk about it. And we're doing that with Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition right now.
Ooh, which I couldn't remember when we were doing the coverage a little bit. I sourced you, but I never asked you. That's a huge game for you, right? I remember you loving that game.
Yeah, I love Chrono Cross. I played it many times when it first came out, and I think maybe once since then. But it hasn't really been it's not one of those games that I return to regularly, right? It's no Braid or something, which is I play every now and then. So. It's been really interesting going back to a game that I have such fond memories of, but have a lot of distance from. And there's always that danger when you go to a game like that of it not holding up. And you get sort of terrified of playing an old game that you used to love because it's is this going to suck? Kind of like when you watch an old movie that you love from the 80s or something, and it has a bunch of racist stuff in it that you've forgotten about.
2000s comedies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was afraid Chrono Cross might be like that. I mean, not the racist stuff, but just not holding up. And it holds up very well. So, and if you want, I could talk about Chrono Cross forever. If you want to hear more thoughts about Chrono Cross, check out MinMax's Deepest Dive.
There you go. I'm curious, Joe, because you were in the industry so long, right? And play was your work, basically. How has your relationship with games now changed now that, you are doing media to a certain extent now, but like it's not your everyday, every second thing?
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky question. I guess for some part of me, I feel like I was doing it for so long that bits of it are just ingrained, right? Like I see announcements of like, oh, there's going to be a new Nintendo Direct or a Sony or a PlayStation State of Play. And I put it on my calendar. It's like, yeah, I got to watch that. I don't have, okay, I will say the first one of those that I watched without having to like man it as an event and like write news stories or assign news stories based on it. It was really nice to just sit back and watch one of those for the first time in a long time.
Right.
So, I guess I still sort of stay plugged into the news of that stuff a fair bit. And I still listen to, gaming podcasts. I listen to the GI show, listen to the MinMax show. But in terms of playing it, the big difference I'd say is I'm trying to think of a more diplomatic way to say it, but like
you're not high employed here anymore. You could go off.
Oh, no. It's nothing about GI. It's more about the fact that, during the course of a year, there are games that you sort of feel like you have to play, even if they're games for you that it's like, boy, I'd give this a 7 out of 10, but it's part of, the capital D discourse. So I really have to power through it in some way. And for me, that's been, I think, the biggest change is just there's sort of a guilt-free release of that stuff. And like, if I don't want to play it, if something's not singing for me, I just don't do it. Or even so far this year, it's like I was really excited for the new Horizon, but then Elden Ring came out right after it. And not being a person who gets any codes in advance for that stuff anymore, it's like I had a choice to make. It's like, oh, I'm going to play Elden Ring. And then a month and a half later, I'd like other things happened. And I was like, I still have Horizon. I plan on getting back to that at some point here, but like the urgency to play that was gone. Whereas I feel like when I was at GI, it was more of a like constantly feeding the beast sort of thing. And I feel a little more comfortable these days, like taking a little bit of a breather between games and, being a little more directed less by the concept of like the year's games.
Yeah.
So it's like right now when I'm not playing Chrono Cross, I'm playing Lost Judgment.
Oh, okay.
from which was a 2021 game.
Yeah.
If I were like still a gaming journalist, I think there's part of me that would be like, I should play something from 2022. I should really dig deeper into Tunic or something like that, because at least that's something that I can leverage in a, conversation that'll be relevant down the road.
Right.
Yeah. But
you can use it to dunk on Dantac in Game of the Year conversations or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So sorry, that was a long and boring answer to a very simple question. But
no, that's why I invited you on. Talk about games and stuff for boring answers.
Long and boring answers to simple questions. I'm your man. Yeah.
Do you, before we get into the day's topic, do you have a game of the year? This has been a bonkers year so far. Do you have like a GOTY so far, or something you love from 2022?
You know what? I want to withhold any statement on that front right now, just because like the game that I have spent the most time with so far is Elden Ring, which I think if you know anything about my gaming habits, which you might if you're listening to this show, and if you're an old listener, the FromSoft games don't normally resonate with me. Like Bloodborne is the only other one I finished, so I was perfectly ready for Elden Ring to be like Sekiro or Dark Souls or whatever, where I jump in and play it for a little bit and then kind of fade out. And that didn't happen. So I had a really good time with it, but also considering my history with FromSoft, I would be a little surprised if that stayed on top for me Even with some of the other games that I know are out that I just haven't gotten around to, like Horizon, like Tunic. I've heard nothing but great things about Norco, which I just bought.
Yeah.
So, and that looks very up my alley also. So, it's like the other stuff I've been playing is stuff that, not to be this guy, but it's like I've been playing a lot of stuff that I can't really talk about. So that's where a lot of my time has been going. So that's, again, a long and boring answer to the question. Ask me again in like September, and we'll see where I'm at.
Okay, yeah.
Pencil them in.
Man,
What about you guys? What's
Oh,
the current game of the year? I want to go around the horn and hear it.
I think it's boring, but Elden Ring, like,
Okay,
through and through. Like, I'm in the same boat as you. It's like I never finished a From game, no interest, whatever, or I would lose interest as I went, and then it just grabbed me, and I couldn't stop playing it. I think I beat it in like 70 hours. So, yeah,
that's about where I was too.
Yeah, I like Pokemon Legends Arceus is amazing, right? There's been some really great indie games this year, like Nobody Saves the World and Tunic, right? But it's like when you have a juggernaut standing in front of you like that, it's hard to say no to that. So that's me personally. ABA.
League of Legends currently.
Yeah.
No, it's Elden Ring.
This new game, yeah.
Yeah, it's Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have nothing else to say that hasn't been said 1,000 times.
Right. John?
Yeah, it's Elden Ring right now.
Marcus, please say something different.
It's Elden Ring.
Yeah.
We're so boring, dude.
I will say, at least since you mentioned it already, Joe, that my number 2 is Norco.
It's
wow.
that good,
Okay.
huh?
Yeah, and I have finished Horizon. I have more or less finished Tunic. I'm cleaning up some stuff, but yeah, I really like Norco.
I do wanna give a
my number 2
shout-out.
with a bullet, honestly.
I want to give a shout out. Definitely not a game of the year candidate, but a game that I've heard nobody talk about. Little indie game called Combinera. It is a puzzle game. So you spell it Kombinera. It's published by Atari, and it's a little
That indie company.
yeah that very it's like one of those games where you have several of the same kind of object, and your inputs move those objects at the same time, and it's all about like positioning, and some of the little balls you're rolling around have different properties to them and different rules that apply to them that don't to the others. It's a really cool little puzzle game. I'm pretty sure it's like very cheap, and yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to that during this time.
Is it on Switch?
Yep, that's where I'm playing it.
I have to
Actually,
pick that up.
I might change my answer a little bit, because considering what we covered for Game of the Year last year, this didn't make it onto the list yet. And that's probably Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.
You dedicated your life to the shrine of Final Fantasy.
I did, and it's real damn good. Like top Final Fantasy for me now. So like that's hard to pass up. But like if we're strictly counting 2022 releases, it's gonna be Elden Ring. But
Yeah,
and like,
for sure.
do you guys have a sense? I know that Tack is sort of the FromSoft guy over there. I assume that that hasn't changed in a year, but is that sentiment of like Elden Ring superiority pretty pervasive at this point?
So.
Gone are the days of Tack sitting in the corner talking about a From game and everyone going like, but the Legend of Zelda, you know what I mean? Like,
gotcha.
Yeah, I think
it's the one to beat this year.
Even now with Tack not with us, his spirit lives on with Elden Ring. So I mean, because like now
he's
you
actually
have
sitting behind Marcus right now. It's kind of weird.
If Alex, if you have any time, can you please Photoshop him in there, please?
I will do my best.
You could. Yeah,
not gonna happen.
Yeah. But no, because like Jill is a huge From person. Wes is really into it. Marcus is.
Yeah,
I think the
Jill's
times
fighting
are
for
changing.
Tunic this year, though. She's
Jill
very
is
clear.
100%
Like Tunic is
on
her game of the year, and she's already said, "I'm coming for the crown come December."
That's actually why, guys. If you can keep a secret, that's actually why Tack is leaving. He doesn't want to have that.
Wow,
fight.
yeah,
You know?
that's
Yeah, or even isn't Norco? I believe that's Jay's game of the year too.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
He flipped like within 3 days because day one it was Elden Ring, the next day it was Tunic, and the day after it was Norco. So that man's all over the place.
Hellblade.
Yeah.
If both Jay and Marcus are that hot on Norco, I definitely need to bump that up my priority list, I think.
Same.
yeah, not a long game, like 5-6 hours.
I also like that we've given away basically the entire content of the halfway game of the year discussion that I was planning in 2 months. But things could change.
There are
New-
other games
new-
coming out.
Yeah, things will come out between now and then.
Right. So
We might all play Stranger of Paradise by then.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Joe, did you play that? Please tell me you played that game.
I didn't. Yeah, it is on my list, but
Mhm.
as a huge Final Fantasy fan, I feel like I should check it out. But again, just time is limited. So.
Right.
I will say Tack really liked it. So
Yeah, I genuinely want to play it because I've heard,
Yeah.
even playing the demo, I thought the gameplay was fun, but I really need to see that story, and I don't know if I want to watch it through cutscenes. I want to.
you want to
I
experience
want to be in it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I read Reiner's review of it. He made the combat sound like really cool and fun, and a lot of good
Yeah.
like nods for for the Final Fantasy fans. But yeah, I don't know. Like story is such a main thing that draws me to a Final Fantasy game or any RPG really.
Mm-hmm.
And when every element of the story just is like becoming a joke, it's a little hard to get excited. But I'm gonna give it a fair shake.
Right. With all the games we've talked about today, it is really feeling like this could be one of the special years, right? Like we talked about 2018 a couple months ago when we did a game draft, and guess what? We're talking about another one today. That's right, folks. We're bringing game draft back, and what a year to do it with, 2017. If you weren't with us for the last episode, we are it's a fun game that we played a couple months ago where basically if you've played like fantasy sports, fantasy football, baseball, basketball, whatever, you draft players, right? You form your team.
We're doing reverse snake order, right?
Doing
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, snake order. Yeah,
normal snake order, not
Yes.
reverse snake order.
Yeah, I was like, no, Marcus is not getting the first pick no matter what he wants. So, but yeah, so we're gonna draft games, right? And then we're gonna have you, the community, vote on who has the best team of games. Not to brag, but I did win last time.
Yeah, see, that's the kicker right there. Because in my mind, I'm trying to think of like, oh, these games are like universally acclaimed or they were big sellers, but I have to keep in mind, like, what would our community actually like? Like, if I pick something that is actually maybe a big hit, but I know they would turn their nose up to,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's an interesting wrinkle of this that I wasn't sure I understood. So, but if I don't care about winning, if I just want to play it as like getting the games I like, that's okay too.
That's how I played it last time, and I actually won last time. So
what are you talking about? Statistically speaking, you did not. Numbers were given,
Yeah, I mean, if you follow your heart, it could still work out. Maybe your heart aligns with the community.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Joe, you're dangerous in this because a lot of the community was formed around your interests too, right? With RPGs, with your kind of taste. So I think if you trust your gut, you could go far. So
well, I'm just going with my list, and if the community doesn't vote for it, it's their problem.
Yeah, assuming it doesn't get completely dismantled because somebody takes one of your games.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that at least one of my games is going to get stolen out from under me, but I would be surprised if I didn't do okay for myself here.
Right. And this is a year where if you have a bad draft, I don't know what you're looking at. Like it's actually bananas looking through this list, and you can go probably 15 games deep and be like, oh, this is a top 7 game in a different year. Like it's truly a marvel. So we have a draft order. I did a random number generator. The draft order is John with the first pick, me with the second, Joe with the third, Van Aken with the fourth, Marcus with the fifth. And then
cheated.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like Alex was referring to, it's a snake draft. So instead of going, 1 through 5, and then we start with John again, Marcus will get another pick back to back. So it's like 1 through 5, 5 through 1, and then we kind of zigzag down. We snake down.
So I'm in the worst spot. I'm just in the middle all the time.
Yep. Congratulations, buddy. I'm glad you're back.
Okay, cool.
One more wrinkle to this, which is a fun one.
Oh no.
So, especially in a year of 2017, right? You can have a perfect list, and like that's boring. We don't want that. So, before the draft is done, you have to pick from the list of Metacritic's worst games. And I've assembled the 10, and it is in order, and I have never heard of any of these games. I'm curious if any of you guys have. That list is Vroom in the Night Sky, Road Rage, Randall, Dying Reborn, Troll and I, Drive Girls, Interchange, Tokyo Tattoo Girls, Koyo Tabatu? 5. There's 5 of them, so I should know what this is. Apparently I don't. And then Rugby 18. So you have to have one of those games on your list.
Can it be just a bad game that's not on that list? Like,
Nope.
If they're a threat? Okay.
I think it's if we set let's maybe like set a Metacritic threshold, like if it's like 55 or lower,
below?
maybe.
Okay.
For user or for critic?
Critic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because no, you don't get to pick like, I don't know, what would be 55 that doesn't deserve it. Like, I don't know.
Mass
Anyways,
Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you
Marvel
don't get
versus Capcom Infinite.
Right. I mean, if y'all have that list, go for it. I know the community rewarded my brash and fearless pick last time, where I picked probably the most problematic sounding game on the list. So
Racism Simulator 2018.
Yeah,
right?
they haven't canceled me yet. So yeah, and then we just have fun with it. When you make your pick, kind of talk about why. We'll ooh, we'll ah, we'll curse you. It's like a fantasy draft, man. Chill with your boys. So, any questions before we begin?
No.
Yeah, why is Crash Bandicoot not in the worst games column?
Wow.
You really want to bring that fire today, huh?
I see that, and I think it's in the wrong column.
No, you don't get to pick it. Its Metacritic is too high for the worst game pick. So,
Is it? I thought I saw that low on the list.
the Insane Trilogy?
Yeah, it's the Insane Trilogy.
Remaster.
I mean, the new one did good too. I mean, we don't have to get into it, but
I'm kidding.
He was just trying to rile these folks up.
He's already
Get people get their blood pumping.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. John, shock the world, man. You're up. First pick of 2017. What?
Yeah.
Could you
How much
possibly
time
choose?
is on the clock?
You have 3 hours. You can pick
all right,
whatever
I'm
you
gonna
want.
need to talk with my team and decide this one. It's a really big pick for us. We need a leader for our team. I think we're gonna have to go.
Stop. You know what you're picking. I literally wrote it for you.
Yeah, we're going with The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. There is no other first pick. It deserves it. It's one of the greatest games of all time. It's one of the greatest games of the past 5 years, decade, 15 years. Pick your poison there.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So,
Yeah.
Also, put it on the board.
I would like to point out this game has breakable weapons.
What does it?
Community, aren't you tired of hearing people compare everything to this game?
I feel like that's maybe a safety issue. All the weapons breaking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
OSHA's got to get involved.
You get a sword eventually where it doesn't break, so it's perfect. It's a perfect game.
Yeah.
Are you like giving like is Link coming on stage and he's like posing with the jersey in front of him?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he's got a John Carson jersey. Has like a moon on it.
What's the John Carson mascot?
It's probably a Pokemon of some sort.
It's a Pokemon playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. It's Magic
that's
cards.
good.
Hold on, let me.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's just a bunch of these.
I like that.
That's
pretty good. All right. Well, congratulations on your first pick.
Thank you.
When
we're
they
very
interviewed,
happy.
when they interviewed Link after, he just was taken, and all he could say was "yeah." So
What?
congratulations on that.
From his seat.
Well, this is I'm up next here.
Who's our commissioner? Who do we boo when they're announcing? Yeah, who's up?
I mean, like the obvious choice is Reiner, but he signs my check.
No,
so
he's
I
not
don't wanna
here,
do that,
no.
Yeah. I guess
Craig,
me.
the recording bot.
It's Craig.
Yeah,
Craig.
yeah.
Boo.
Boo.
He just drops out immediately.
Yeah. I mean, like this is the other one that I feel like is a pretty obvious pick. I think Mario Odyssey, one of the best Mario games ever. In a year without Zelda, I think that probably would have been game of the year. For me, anyways. I can't speak to other people, right? But a game that kind of refreshed my love of the series too, right? Showed like not the potential, good lord, but like
This whole scrappy Mario guy.
Yeah, right. This
something.
indie character Mario. Yeah, I mean, like it is one of those things like Elden Ring where it's like, what else can you say about it? The creativity is boundless in that. It's such a great homage to what came before it. The costumes are awesome. The platforming is amazing.
You remember when you threw that hat onto a T-Rex? It's
I'll never
pretty
forget it.
awesome.
Yeah, I've tried that in real life. I can't do it.
Pretty dope.
Yeah, pretty dope. So that's my pick, Mario Odyssey.
That was gonna be mine. So thanks a lot.
I knew it wasn't coming back around. So all right, off the board, Joe Juba, our honored guest.
This is really hard for me because it's like there's one that I feel is like my heart really wants to choose, but then there's also one that I feel like if I don't pick it now, it's more likely to go.
Interesting.
So I guess without revealing which one's which, I'm gonna make my first choice Persona 5.
Oh, off the board.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I forgot that was that year actually.
Yep, it's the original release of it, not the Royal.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I think as someone who's a fan of that series in general, for me personally, that's my favorite Persona game, and I know that's not true for a lot of folks, but for me in particular, I really loved the the whole thematic like thief element to it, and the way it deals with I don't know the right way to say it. The evil people in that game, I think, are so well made. Even though they're also cartoonish in their villainy, but just that whole concept of, it's almost got that Psychonauts element, right? Of you jump into that person's psyche a little bit, and that the manifestation of their evils and insecurities is just I really am a sucker for that particular device.
I've never heard it categorized as like JRPG Psychonauts before, and that makes complete sense. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's what it is. But then it also has, I think, probably my favorite. It's not my favorite set of like companions necessarily, but it's my favorite set of confidants. So apart from your playable party members, I really like the different people you meet and the relationships you build up in that game. I think is better than the previous ones. And I don't know, it's just, I'm also just a sucker for a good old like JRPG,
Right.
and I think and that's one. I can't do those all the time, but that's one that I feel like no one does that much better than Persona in terms of a lot of complex interacting systems and the whole like you got to play for 10 hours before you even really know what's going on. And yeah, so that's my pick.
I think that's a hell of a pick. Not one I thought you were going a different route with that one, honestly. So,
but we'll see what I get for pick number 2. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. Yeah. But I think that's one the community can get behind as well. At least Kim will vote for your list now. I feel like if anything else,
that the vote that matters. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Moving on to Alex Van Aken. He's been stewing. He's been plotting. Look at him. He's working the phones. He knows what he's doing. What do you got here, buddy?
I know what I'm doing, buddy. I'm picking Fortnite, the game that changed the world.
Wow. There it is.
Your grandma was playing it,
Wii Sports?
Yeah. Your mom was playing it. I'm pretty sure 10 people in the NFL became streamers because of this game.
Fortnite's
Thor
still in
played it
beta,
once.
right?
No, it's out now.
Yeah, it came out a couple years
out.
ago.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, Fortnite's my pick. I mean, it's number one. I love Fortnite. It has brought my family and I close together. I play it with my mom. I play it with my brothers, my stepdad. Yeah, I play it with a lot of people. It's a great game for people that really like competition, but also people that just want to get in and have a good time and collect some Marvel characters, I guess. And yeah, I think it's a powerful contender in any year, and it's just continued to rise in its success. And I think there's going to be, I feel like at least, I feel like 90% of the people in our community have at least played a match of Fortnite. Whether they enjoyed it or not, that's to be determined. But I think I've got a good shot as that being my, the foundation to my team.
I mean, that's something you build the legacy of. That's Super Bowl winning caliber player right there. So
Yep.
Also, does Fortnite put characters in anymore that aren't superheroes or Tom Holland?
Yeah, The Rock.
Zendaya?
Actually, there's a character called the Foundation, which I was just going to point out. That was a nice pun.
Oh, yeah. Did it on purpose, obviously, as you could see. So, all right. Good pick. Another unexpected one. I like that, though. Marcus, you get 2 in a row here. So you can take your time, right? You can ponder here. What's your first pick?
Yeah, so I've been sitting here trying to. I'm in a unique position of like, I can do like a 1-2 punch here. I have a bit of a safety blanket with my second pick, so I'm gonna go maybe a little bit off the beaten path here for my first pick. Gonna go on the indie side, and I'm going to snag What Remains of Edith Finch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I
that's a
won.
good
I was
one.
hoping I would hurt someone, so I'm glad
That's
to
a
do
real
that.
good one.
That hurts me. I love that game.
I do too. I think it's one of my favorite games of that console generation. It's one of my favorite I guess indie games of all time, narrative games, whatever you want to call them. I did actually, funny enough, I did a deepest dive on it with MinMax a couple years back. It's kind of show you how much I really adore that game. It is a gut punch in a lot of ways. I think it's one of the most well told and imaginative narrative games I've ever played. And yeah, it's something that I think everyone should play at least once. It's not a long game, and it's awesome. I don't
Question.
really. Yes.
Is this a game I could play on an airplane? If
I mean-
I am susceptible to tears, as you know,
Oh,
because I've never played it and I've been meaning
I was like,
to.
is it on Switch?
It is
Or
on Switch.
mobile devices. Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, there's one particular sequence that will probably get you,
Okay.
and we probably all are thinking of the same thing.
Yeah,
But
and I would also say there's a thing about that game where it's like it's not your typical like walking simulator. If you think that it's just a story-based walking simulator thing, you're selling it short a little bit. And I think if you're playing it on a tiny portable screen, you may miss a lot of some of the impact of the different narrative and control-based flourishes that the game is doing might be diminished.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be careful of that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could it takes like 3 hours to finish. It is not a long game.
Okay.
I would say do that tonight, right when this recording's done.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
it is
Instead of packing.
it is definitely a one. I think it's in its best when you just run through it in one sitting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just treat it
Yeah.
like a movie.
In
I
your
do have
copious
my-
free time, Alex, just play this
Yeah,
game.
I'm literally just sitting around. Like my friends think I just play video games
Yeah.
for my living. Of
No
course,
one's,
just
ever,
thinking-
no one's ever recommending games to you and saying you should play them right now, right?
no, never. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
this man was trying to play it on a plane ride to Portland, Maine.
I feel like Jeff Cork would like come off the plane engine and just like punch me in the face for that. I don't know.
Just eating a lobster roll while playing Edith Finch.
Yeah. Alrighty, starting off with the indie title. I like it. What is your next pick?
My next pick. This is a tricky one. I think this might be another, maybe I don't want to say oddball, but I'm trying to think of something that you guys won't. I'm wondering, like, is this going to survive another round? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It won't.
Well, now that you say that. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna pick Sonic Mania.
Wow.
Ooh, gotta cross.
That
it
would have
off my
survived another
list.
round.
Yeah, you would have been just fine on that one, my guy.
Probably,
Got
but
him.
I love Sonic,
So-
and most Sonic games are bad, but this one was not bad. It was the first, like, in my opinion, genuinely great Sonic game without any caveats attached to it since the Genesis era. I'm not a fan of really of the 3D games. I try and they just haven't gotten it right. This was the first time I could remember of like I'm smiling ear to ear playing this game because it's not just like it's like really well done remixes of the old stages, but also the new stages that they added to them and the way it like celebrates those stages while making them better was so well done. The soundtrack is incredible. Shout out to T Lopes, who's a Sonic composer I'd been listening to it for a while. So when I heard that he was attached to this, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like everything just made sense. I mean, it probably because it wasn't Sonic Team that made it, right? It was basically a group of fans that put it together. And if you haven't played it, I think it's easily the best Sonic game. You could argue maybe ever, honestly. If you remove nostalgia from like, Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles, like, is this objectively just the best one? I think, yeah, it might be. So, yeah, and that Sonic 2 movie is out, and everyone loves Sonic right now.
Sure.
So, like, why not play the best modern Sonic game to really get well-rounded with your appreciation?
What a cynical move. Marcus just pandering to that huge Sonic Mania fan base right
all
now.
Those kids.
Best opening weekend of any video game movie ever, just pointing it out.
No. Alrighty. Well, congratulations on that pick, which you definitely could have had in another round. But anyways, moving on to Alec. You forget Shag's not here, dude. You don't have to. You have time for those.
It was on my board here.
So I think I probably would have put it in the other column myself.
Wow.
Alex is feisty, man.
Alex doesn't like platformers.
What are you talking about?
Hates platformers, apparently.
I love platformers. I like good platformers. Not ones that have you shooting across the map and like hitting random things before you have time to react to them. Anyways, I'm trying to win this bracket. I didn't win last time. And it's been a rough few weeks in my personal life, so I just need to take the picks that are going to do the best for me, regardless of my attachment. This next game, I really enjoy, I really respect, though I have never finished it. I've started it many times, but I know its place in the hearts of many. My second pick is Hollow Knight.
Oh,
yeah,
that is a great pick.
Yeah.
I have a similar history with that one, Alex. I've started it several times, and because I love old school action platformers like that. I love Metroid style games. It just seems like it should be right up my alley.
Me too.
And yet I've started it 2 or 3 times, and each time I just
I'm I'm gonna start it again next time and beat it.
Yeah.
But I totally respect it, and I have enjoyed what I have played, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't stuck with me. But I know I'm an outlier in that, everybody loves Hollow Knight, so that's why it's number 2 on my list.
Are you excited for Silk Song? Have you followed that thing?
I am actually excited because I love Metroidvanias, and Silk Song is kind of a way to get in that universe at the same time as everybody else in terms of okay, it's kind of like a fresh start. I don't have to go back and I don't know. I guess there's literally one game in the series. It's not that hard to go and play, but I am excited for Silk Song. I am.
It's kind of that thing Joe said earlier, right? Where you can be a part of the discourse this time around versus catch up. Yeah, I get that.
I think that's part of the magic of that game. Was when it first I just see so many people talking about, oh, you got to Hollow Nest. I haven't gotten to Hollow Nest, but I've heard of Hollow Nest, the Deep Dark or whatever. It's all of these places I've heard of because of the zeitgeist.
That's the point of the game that I've stopped at now twice, where I hate that section. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a great pick. I know 3 people in the GI Discord who are instantly gonna vote for you because you have that on that list.
Yep.
So yeah, so that was a smart play. You're a smart man. Speaking of smart men, Joe, you're up.
You want me to list some smart men that I know?
Yes. Can you start?
Okay.
Alphabetical order. Yeah.
Yes. So this might be my Sonic Mania in that I'm worried it's going to go off the list, but realistically, maybe no one would ever pick it. I'm not totally sure, but I know what my heart is telling me. And that's saying that my next pick has to be Yakuza Zero.
Oh,
I've been eyeing that one. I was like, maybe it'll survive. and
Yeah,
I'll
that
pick
was I was hoping that was gonna wheel a bit.
Yeah, that's one. I think I've talked about this a little bit, but I played Yakuza Like a Dragon when it first came out and got super into it and was like, you know what? I should go pick up that Yakuza Zero save I have from 2017 that I got 5 hours into the game and then put it down. And so after beating Like a Dragon, I picked Yakuza Zero up again, and over the course of a year, I played Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, Kiwami 2, Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5.
Wow.
And I just got so into it. So like now, Yakuza 0 is a great game for a number of different reasons. It's like a perfect place to jump into this series that I think is an intimidating series because it's a continuous, most of it is a continuous story told over like 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yakuza 0 is like the place you can jump in, get in on the ground floor, but it also has the benefit of being a prequel that was made later. So that means that it doesn't have all the sloppy bits that a first entry in a series often has. It's basically got all of the polish and cleverness of a late game in the series, except it's the first one that you should play.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, over the course of that year, Yakuza jumped from some like kind of niche oddity to absolutely, and I'm not exaggerating, standing out there like among my favorite series now. Like it's up there with like, Metal Gear, Assassin's Creed, Final Fantasy, Yakuza. I love that stuff. So
Cool.
So that's my pick.
There you go. Another good one. Another one I think the community is going to eat up. Y'all have put me in a hard spot where it's like I feel like I have a bounty in front of me that I wasn't expecting there. And I'm a little conflicted because I think there's some of my favorites on this list still.
So we haven't actually we have not given the listeners any idea of what some of the heavy hitters are out there this year yet, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm a fool. We haven't talked about that at all.
Well, I don't know that we need to, except it might be interesting to know what is still what games from 2017 are still on the board, because I look and see that Horizon is still there, and that is a surprise.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
talk about what's on the list because I want y'all to forget the ones that I want that are on the list.
Let's get through this round, and then we could look at the board because we're almost at the end of round 2 here. We can do a nice little commercial break, type of thing.
Right.
I don't think this game gets back to me, so I think I have to do it, and I'm gonna go with Horizon Zero Dawn. A fan favorite amongst the GI community, and one that I'm happy to say actually really stuck with me when I beat it earlier this year. If you were listening to the podcast earlier, I was in a similar boat with Horizon as Alex and Joe said with Hollow Knight. Tried it twice, absolutely. I was like, I get it. And it just didn't go much further than that. And I was like, okay, next one's coming out soon. I literally, for my job, I need to be a part of this discourse because it is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. And then Elden Ring came out, but anyways. And I was like, okay, let me give this the fairest of fair shot. And by the end of it, I was very taken with the sci-fi element of it. I still maintain the present day storyline is still just okay. It's good, but that the storytelling of how the world got to its current state is so fascinating to me, and I love the sci-fi ass sci-fi behind it. It's just, I think it's told really well. I think those audio logs work really well. I know some people don't like them and stuff, and it just paints this fascinating picture. And when I was done with it, I was like, I need to know more about how everything transpired and that kind of stuff. And I've been really enjoying the Horizon sequel, right? But or Forbidden West, but I'm meaning to get back to it, like Joe said. But and I know our community really likes that game as well. So Horizon Zero Dawn is my second pick. Shout out to Aloy. Boo Ted Farrell. John, give us
Yeah.
one, and then we'll look at the board.
I'm surprised this made it. Because really, if you think about lasting impact from 2017, and kind of what Joe was saying about like taking a franchise that wasn't really well respected and kind of skyrocketing it into superstardom and really
He's taking my pick.
making at least like 6 games viable for like remasters, and like people would be excited to see anything from this series or its sister series. Nier Automata is my pick.
I thought Joe was going to take that eventually.
Now, fun fact, I am on the quite low end of the Metacritic spread on Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, I really enjoyed that game. It made my top 10 for 2017, but like I was an outlier on the low side when the reviews for that hit.
Joe knew that we'd be doing a game draft in 5 years.
It's like, I really
I'm
gotta
gonna
take this
stake
thing.
my claim right now. See if I can get that in the top 10 lowest. Yeah. John, are you a fan of the game, or like
I am. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I made it to the 3rd ending because it was just such a busy year. It got dropped for something else, but like it's a game I think about all the time. It's something that like I didn't think we were ever going to get the original Nier like remastered or like almost remade. Like that was like Nier was basically the butt of a joke for a lot of people like in the industry, or just like think back at like just strange action RPGs that have happened throughout the years. It's like, who cares about Nier? Well, now people do. It's kind of a big. It's a bigger deal now. And it also, like I was hinting at, made people kind of care about the Drakengard series, which it's all connected to. So,
or if they don't care about it, they are at least aware of it in a way.
Right. It's like,
before.
so yeah, if Drakengard were to come up again, like that would be on someone's radar. Like Yoko Taro is I want to say at least for enthusiasts, it's a household name for people into video games. So
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Do we want to go over what is left on the board?
So let's say what our picks are so far. So John, with the first pick, has taken Breath of the Wild and Nier. Is it Automata or Automata?
I think
I've heard both. I think it's Autonoma, but I've heard both equal amount of times. I don't know.
Nier 2017. Got it.
Yeah. Nier 2.
Yeah. I have picked Mario Odyssey and Horizon Zero Dawn. Joe has Persona 5 and Yakuza 0. Alex has Fortnite and Hollow Knight. Whoa, look at that. King of the Night.
Yep.
The Night King, some could say.
Whoa. It's not infringe on my boundaries here.
On yours?
Yeah, if he's the king of the night and I'm the king of late night.
Oh, I see.
Well, I'm king of before like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. All right.
The king of the evening.
You can have it. You're the prime
king
time
of twilight. Yeah.
The kids block.
Dusk.
Yeah, there you go. And then Marcus rounding us out with what remains of Edith Finch and Sonic Mania. Good picks. There's a lot on the board, though. I'm telling you. This is so a little bit of controversy last time when a certain Ben Reeves was on the show, right? Ben thought we were only limited to the list on the screen, whereas John was galaxy braining it and knew it was just like the games of 2018.
Like
so he
Dragon Quest 11. Let's go.
Quest. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that these games, you can pick whatever game came out in 2017 as long as it came out in 2017. But so available left on the board, we have PUBG, Resident Evil 7, Wolfenstein 2, Destiny 2, Cuphead, Assassin's Creed Origins, West of Loathing, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen, Gravity Rush 2, Evil Within 2. There's a lot of twos in this one. Pyre, Night in the Woods, Hellblade, Little Nightmares, Dirt 4. How did that get on there? It's Metroid Samus Returns, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Getting Over It, ARMS.
Bennett Foddy.
The what?
Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
Oh, okay. That's the full title.
Yeah.
It's a fun game. ARMS, Neo, Splatoon 2, Sexy Brutal, Observer, Uncharted Lost Legacy, Snipper Clips, Injustice 2, Middle-earth Shadow of War, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Call of Duty World War II, South Park Fractured But Whole, Mass Effect Andromeda, Forza Motorsport 7, Mario 8 Deluxe, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Divinity Original Sin 2. Holy God, how did y'all do it in 2017, Joe? I literally don't understand.
I seem to remember there being a lot of back-to-back huge reviews. I mean, I reviewed. I remembered playing a bunch of Persona 5 and then getting code in for Mass Effect Andromeda and playing all of that, writing that review, and then going back to Persona 5 to finish it to write that review. It was a crazy year.
Wow. Yeah. How much time? Do you remember how much time you got for the Persona review? Like a month?
Yeah. That was a rare case where they gave us a good probably a month or so. I don't remember exactly, but
right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I was still, because the game takes 100 hours to finish, I was still like playing right up until the last minute before I wrote it. But
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
So
I would say there's one game on this that is not on this list that is actually a well-liked game that I'm keeping in my back pocket. It's my Uno wild card, we'll say.
Okay.
All right.
I like that. Yeah.
Is it Dragon Quest 11 when it released in Japan?
Oh, how did you know?
You got him. Got him. All right. John, kick us off here. Round 3, halfway point or over halfway.
Yeah.
What do you got here?
I'm starting to decide if I want to start going with picks that I'm super into as well, and like things that might not hit as much for other people. But I think I'm gonna have to go with a game that is still relevant today and will be until probably the end of 2023, and that is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
It's a good one.
Another huge game for the Switch. Even though, yes, it is the second console it's been on, it shines even more on the Switch. Has all the courses, all the characters, and we're getting 48 tracks over the next year and a half.
Yeah.
So, it's a game that I've played since the Switch has released and keep going back to, and it's one of the best games of the year.
It's something wild, like 60 to 70% of Switches out there have like Mario Kart on them. Or something crazy like that.
It's like the highest attach rate. I mean, it's no Double Dash, but it's a great Mario Kart game.
Which, I mean, I think that explains why they're doing what they're doing with it, right? Like releasing all of those new tracks, like at least in that way, you're able to leverage a huge install base for a game rather than trying to get a bunch of people to opt in for a brand new one, right?
Right. Or opt into their new expansion pack service that all those tracks just come for free with. So it's that like that and Animal Crossing together is just like, oh, that paid for my subscription for the year.
Right. Yeah. I still haven't gotten the expansion pass yet. Maybe
it's good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Well, I mean, yeah, the tracks are fun. My wife really likes the Animal Crossing stuff. It seems like a good deal. So.
Right. I think I'm kind of waiting for like one of the Pokemon Stadium games to come to like the expansion pass. Then I think I'll finally dip my toes in. But
yeah.
All right. I'm up next. It's an embarrassment. And here's what's hard. In my heart, I know what I want to pick. I don't think it will resonate with our audience. That's the hard part.
See, I don't like this, the angle of having to like guess what's going to resonate with people. Cause like Game Informer has a big audience, right? And everyone's going to like a little bit of something.
Right.
To try and guess who likes what the most. I don't know. I feel like, Alex, you're going to feel better about yourself, and you're going like, it's better to lose with authenticity than to win with pandering, right?
That's what losers say.
I was going to say Joe's games right now.
Yeah. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Where was that speech?
Joe is right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex, go with whatever your heart wants you to pick.
No, I'm not losing this.
Go with Splatoon 2,
immediately
Alex.
sold out.
I am going to tell out, and I'm going to do Resident Evil 7.
Wow.
I was actually hoping I would survive.
The game that brought back the damn series, that brought horror back, that everyone loves. That
I really want to play that game after Village.
Mm-hmm.
but it looks so much scarier than Village, and I don't.
it is.
scarier. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even scarier than the Dollhouse, and I don't think
Yeah,
I don't
I
know
mean,
if I'm capable.
It's pretty much the dollhouse for the first half of the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that in me.
Yeah.
That's one of those where they brought it to our office for a demo, and I played some of the older, or like I played like Resident Evil, 4, 5, and some of 6. But those are like, this is such a different shift that when they brought it to the office, I was like, this is maybe too scary for me. I don't know that I don't know that I will enjoy sitting and playing this for a long time.
Right. Yeah. Did
So
you
it's
have
taxing.
you ever beat it?
No.
No. Yeah.
No, for me, it's a little bit, it hits similar notes as the old, Fatal Frame 2, where I like sit down to play it for a little bit. I'm just like, no, I don't know what it is. This is
You
just,
just feel the stress in your body.
Like,
And,
it's so oppressive.
Yeah.
and I play horror games. I watch horror movies. I don't know what it is about that. There's just this particular horror frequency that I just have to like nope out of. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
But
that house is effective. Like, I do not want to be here.
yeah.
The worst thing Blake has ever done to me was I was editing.
I like any story. Let's all tell our. I guess that's a segment for another episode.
Our favorite worst Blake stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing the video editing on his Resident Evil retrospective, which is one of my favorite edits. You should definitely go check it out. But he talked a lot about RE7 at one point, and I had to get B-roll, so I was just watching these horrific the tapes or whatever in that game of like the family and stuff. I was like, oh my god, I literally couldn't do this. Like I struggled in RE7 or RE Village sometimes, but that at least got a little more bananas, so it's like that was more fun, right? I was like, I don't know how people played this game for 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, however long that game is. Like, that's a lot. Especially in VR, y'all are crazy. So yeah. Joe Juba trying to trick me into following my heart. What do you got?
Yeah.
What's your
Well,
next?
you know what? I am going to follow my heart. I've been scrolling through a list to make sure I'm not missing anything ridiculously huge. And I'm really wondering what the secret game Marcus is talking about here. But
yeah, right.
I'm trying to pick it and just snatch it out from underneath.
I would be very surprised if anyone picked it.
I bet it's Windjammers. But I think for me, I'm just gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna follow my own advice here, Alex. And I'm gonna go with Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
There it is.
That's a good one.
Which again, that's another one that I was actually a little low on when the reviews came out. But I think one thing that a lot of people don't know about that game or have forgotten in the 5 years since it came out was that game had some great post-launch support, and not just in terms of like cool DLC you buy. I mean that they heard what people's complaints were with the game and released updates and patches and stuff to like really rectify some of the game's biggest problems. So the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that you can pick up and play today is vastly better than the version that came out. And there's actually, if you search for it, I think that you could even find an article on Game Informer that I wrote along these lines, like why Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is worth revisiting or something like that. Because they made a lot of smart fixes to it that really really highlighted the game's strengths while minimizing some of the like repetition and slogginess of it. So yeah, that ends up being a game now that I look back on with a lot of fondness, despite some frustration during the review process for it.
Right. When you said you were following your heart, I started typing what I thought you were putting in, but you surprised me. So,
oh no, I want to know what else my heart might say.
We can, we'll get to it at the end of this. We'll see where your heart ends up here. VA. Oh, do you have the like? Is this the Academy Awards? Are you like opening like the envelope here?
I've got a blank piece of paper here. All right.
Keep my game's name out of your mouth.
All right. It's blank. I'm writing down a game name that is going to be Marcus's secret pick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, I like this. I like.
Okay.
And if I guess it right, I win.
Are you doing how like Yugi beat the Pharaoh in the final duel
Wow.
of Yu-Gi-Oh?
No,
You-
no.
Yeah.
you
I
put
just, for
Monster
my own personal
Reborn in the
interest,
box.
I've
I like-
written
I
it
like-
down.
Building your own side bet for the game. I like how this goes.
I've written it
Wait.
down.
To be clear, whatever's on this card, is that your card? Is that what you're picking here?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just want to, I'm just guessing what he picked.
Hey,
Should
hey,
we make him, hold on, should we make him take whatever's on this card?
Make
Double
me.
down. Yeah.
Make me.
I don't think that's fair. How about if I get it right, Marcus has to pick a different game?
Wait. So I would have to.
Well, you're
pick the
talking
game.
about fairness here. And then,
Oh,
It's like I would have
boy.
to pick
Yeah.
the game as my game to reveal it, and then you're saying if you're right,
It's my trap card.
I lose my. Wait, you get another pick, or I lose a pick?
You just can't pick that game if I pick it.
You just have to pick again.
Okay,
yeah, something different. Yeah.
that wouldn't be the worst thing.
That seems a little
And
bit
if I'm
unfair because it's
wrong-
only for Marcus, though.
If I'm
Like,
wrong,
Then
you
it
can
has to be
take
your
a
next pick.
game. If I'm wrong,
No, I don't
you
want
can
that,
pick a
'cause
game from my
It's a
list.
good game.
What it? Oh, so a little trade almost.
Okay,
Like he would
I'll
take
do that.
something
So
from it?
I'll do that. I'll pick this
No,
game.
wait, hold
if that's
on.
oh wow!
You
Well,
liked the idea too
All right,
much. And you
Marcus.
backed off. Yeah.
If I'm right, are you going to pick that game?
it depends on the conditions. Tell me what the deal is.
Okay, if you pick that game and I'm correct, you cannot pick that game and instead have to pick an extra game from the Metacritic's worst games.
But if
If I'm wrong, if you pick that game, you have to tell me, you have to tell everybody this is the game. All right, this is the
Okay.
secret game.
I need,
And I'm wrong.
Marcus, I need you to write it down right now if you can.
Well, I know what it is.
And I'm wrong, then you do get to pick a game from my list.
or
okay.
how about, or what if you get to pick 2 games from the bad list?
I don't care.
Or maybe
I'm
just-
just gonna make it
I want one of
interesting.
his. I want one of his games.
Or how about we just skip a bunch of confusing rules, and if Alex gets it right, he just gets to like pump his fist and be like, "I'm the best," and we're all
That's
like,
fine
"Alex,
too.
you're the
That's
best.
fine
You
too.
got it," and then we just
no.
proceed as normal.
Do we
That's
have to
fine.
say Alex is the best though?
Yes.
Yeah,
if he
you
gets
have
it right,
to.
we do.
All
Yeah.
right.
I like
yeah.
the other
Well,
rules
if he gets it
better.
wrong, do we say Alex is the worst instead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just make
Okay.
That's
fun of him?
fine. Yeah, that's good.
All right.
And it would be especially true if I made this big of a deal out of it and got it wrong. So,
Fair.
I'm curious.
but
what you
my
wrote.
pick for this round.
Wait,
Sorry,
you're not gonna reveal it now?
No, he has to wait until
I have to
Marcus
wait
picks
to
it.
Marcus picks it.
Oh, I see. I thought you were gonna. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
My pick for this round, after all of that, those tangents, Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny 2, despite its ups and downs, I love that game.
Me
a lot
too.
of people love that game. It has truly become a platform and kind of just
Have to erase that
continues
from my
to be, a trendsetter in FPS gaming. Not a trendsetter, that's not true. It's doing its own thing, but I like it for that. And it's kind of this weird half MMO, half FPS, and you're never fully satisfied, but you keep playing it because the hooks are so deep in you and the systems are so fun, and the rewards that you are constantly grinding for are, they're great about putting that carrot on the stick, and there's always something that's worth sinking your time into. Destiny 2, it rules.
To that
Playing
point,
with fire here, Alex. You got that in Fortnite, right?
Yep.
yeah.
I was like, 2
Mhm.
games that are popular, but people also
Let's
love.
like
Okay.
let's let's settle this. Are we
Say
doing?
I actually need to look up one of these quick.
Yeah.
I like that idea. 5
Okay.
good ones, 1 bad one.
Perfect. Cool. I like that
Okay.
too. Alrighty.
All right. So my third pick, I'm going to go with. Oh man, there's some good ones left.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of them is going to be my secret game. I'm going to unleash it, so I might need to buffer it with something big just in case it doesn't go over well. You know what? I'm gonna go with Cuphead.
I was hoping that would come
That's a good
back.
pick.
Cuphead.
I love Cuphead. I love obviously the art stands out. It's one of the few games, especially as I've gotten older, that I have pulled a family member to be like, look at this.
Look at this.
Look at what video games do now. This is what they can look like.
Mhm.
You remember this back when you were a toddler in the 1930s.
You're old, right?
Yeah.
But also it plays super well. I love I'm a sucker for like challenging platformers, and even though that's more of an action game, like the pure platforming segments are okay, but they're definitely the weakest part of the game. But the boss battles are incredible. Every boss is different. They all feel distinct. It's fun to play with co-op as well. It is just a blast, and it's got a Netflix show that I've yet to watch, but I've heard it's
good.
pretty all right.
Yeah, it's if it was any longer, it would be kind of a drag. But I was hoping it would be not as much of a kid's show. But I like the show. The animation's good, and I like the voice acting. So you should check it out.
Yeah, who doesn't love Cuphead? Well, I guess maybe people that like if you played on Switch, maybe threw your thing against the wall because it's really hard.
Yeah.
And so with that, I will wait. I get 5 good games then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna save my secret game for the 5th game that I don't have to.
Oh,
use it.
you tease.
Okay, because again, there's no way it's gonna get taken. So my 4th pick, I'm gonna go. Ooh. I've done a lot of indie stuff. I should pick like a AAA thing. I'm gonna go Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that game is very good. If you listen to our video gameography episode on Uncharted, I kind of gave my thoughts there already, but I think that game is a fantastic sort of accompaniment to Uncharted 4, especially because, Uncharted 4 ties everything up, and they, like Naughty Dog, did the thing that they've gotten good at of like giving me a sequel that I think I don't want, and then you play it and you're like, oh no, I'm glad you guys did this. Because like I was like totally done with Uncharted after 4, super great wrap up. So the idea of a side story, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play it, but why? And then it's like, oh no, this might secretly be one of the best entries because one, it's smaller, especially coming off Uncharted 4, which I think the worst thing you can say about 4 is that it's maybe a little too long. So it was nice to have much more compact experience. I like the increased focus on puzzle solving in Lost Legacy. It almost feels a little bit more like a Tomb Raider game in that sense, and I think the puzzles are genuinely well designed. And also, like Chloe and Nadine, like their whole dynamic was so entertaining, and shining a spotlight on 2 characters that were always like cool, but getting to see more of them, and it's like, oh no, I think they're right up there with like the main gang, right? Like yeah, I would play another game with those 2. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's maybe a little overlooked, in the broader Uncharted series, but I'd say it's probably like the 3rd best game overall.
So would you say?
I'd say 4, 2, and Lost Legacy.
Okay. Okay. Joe, do you have any thoughts or rebuttal?
No, I mean, I actually agree with Marcus 100% on that, especially the point about Uncharted 4. After you finish that game, it puts such a nice bow on that series that you're like, why would you even do anything more with this?
Mm-hmm.
Or it even leaves you asking the question, like, what's even left?
Right.
And I think that Lost Legacy does an excellent job of like not only making the case for its own existence, but by the time you finish it, you're very glad that it's there and that it's a sort of, augmentation to the, Nathan Drake saga.
Cool.
So, yeah.
There you go.
It's so nice too. It's like what, 8 hours? You're like in and out.
Yeah, it's pretty short. And that's also the game where they start to they experiment a little bit more with some open areas. Like previous Uncharted games were a lot more, had more compact kind of linear paths. And that was one where they had a few areas that were more like wide open, go explore kinds of stuff that I think was them laying the groundwork for what they eventually did in Last of Us 2 at Naughty Dog.
That whole Seattle section, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. Good pick. Back to you, Alex Van Aken.
Yeah, this game is not only loved by many, but is one of my favorites from 2017. I think it was my number 3 for that year, my top 3. I love this game. The systems are deep, the characters and lore rich. It's also got some incredible co-op. Divinity Original Sin 2.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were making a joke, and it was going to be. I thought it was going to be Mario and Rabbids.
No. Divinity Original Sin 2, phenomenal CRPG. I love that game so much, and I've played it. Have I ever beaten it? That is one of those games that I'm like, yeah, I'll start a new save with a friend, and then we play it for like 2-3 days straight, and then they fall off, and then another friend wants to play together. I'm like, yeah, let's start over. Let's make some new characters. But that game is so cool. I love it so much. I have not played Baldur's Gate 3 because I was waiting. Baldur's Gate 3 because I was waiting for all the content to come out. But with the Steam Deck, I'm like so tempted. Just because I love, the last game they put out, I really want to play Larian's, newest thing, but I'm trying to be patient and wait.
Is that game ever hitting? I mean, obviously it's gonna hit full, but like they've been pretty quiet on when.
Sounded like I think the last update alluded to it might go 1.0 next year.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a pretty significant update. I feel like a few months earlier this year, didn't they? Or am I mistaken?
I think there was like
with a druid class. I could be wrong.
There might have been like one. You might be right. I think there was like maybe one.
I might be talking out my butt. Okay. I don't know. But Divinity Original Sin 2, phenomenal game. Happy it's on my list.
Yeah. Good pick. Joe Juba, what do you got, bud?
Yeah. Well, so I know what the 2 that remain that I want are, though I think one of them is much more likely to go before another. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with that one next. Okay. I'm going to go with Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice.
Okay.
Which, it's so rare that you play a game that you are very invested in and then you enjoy very much, and yet it's difficult to say that you are having fun with it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as an insult. I actually mean that, like that team just did such a good job of walking this line of creating a very like intense action adventure game that explores some really heavy subject matter in a way that feels genuine and has an impact, but doesn't trivialize it by just doing sort of throw off references to mental illness or psychosis or whatever, right? So I think I just was really impressed by the way they handled that stuff in a game that really feels in a lot of ways it feels more like a really compelling piece of interactive art than like a game that you want to beat.
Mm-hmm.
But of all of these games that that we see on this list, I think that this is probably Hellblade is one of them that I think about the most often. Not necessarily in terms of, I remember when I was playing this part or that part, but more just in terms of like the message and how it's conveyed. I was just really impressed by Hellblade. So
yeah, and excited for the sequel?
And we've got a sequel on the way. Yeah.
Looks that the demos we've seen, just wow. Unreal Engine 5, everyone.
Yeah, that first game was incredible looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Ninja Theory. I think it's really interesting how they had that Devil May Cry and Heavenly Sword history of like really actiony stuff. so I kind of went into Hellblade expecting it to be a little more like that. And even though it does have like an action combat system, that is definitely not the focus of the game. So even as someone who loves that kind of stylish action and was kind of hoping or expecting it in Hellblade, I was still pretty impressed. So yeah, Hellblade.
Yeah. This is a Joe Juba list through and through.
Hey,
and
like I said,
yeah.
if you don't vote for it, that's your problem.
I love it. Well, folks, behind the scenes, Joe's been texting me. He's like, "Do it. You won't follow your heart, nerd." You know, he's you know what? He's broken me down. I have to
cyberbullying you.
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna pick.
Is it cyberbullying? Is it cyberbullying if it's on text? I never asked that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's data.
Yeah. I think as we have done in this draft, the world has done itself. PUBG is one of the most revolutionary multiplayer games of the last ever. Like it pioneered battle royale at a time where no one, or popularized it, whatever you want to say about it, but like it really pushed multiplayer games forward and set up what is now like Twitch isn't dominated
genre
by Fortnite and Warzone without PUBG, right? And I think especially at that time, I feel like you can look at the timeline and see moments in history when like multiplayer games have like totally changed, right? You know, whether it was early PC days or Halo on console, right? Overwatch with the hero shooter, right? PUBG is one of those moments where it's like nothing is the same after this, and now it's this divisive thing, right? Where half the community wants a battle royale in the game. People are crying for Halo battle royale, right? There's another half of the community that's like, keep it away. Like this is not what we want from our games, but it's just this fascinating beast that unfortunately, while Fortnite has done some amazing things on its own with its building and stuff like that, it gets cannibalized by those conversations, right? We don't give PUBG the love I feel like it deserves as a game, as a flag setter of like this is the future of multiplayer games. And PUBG is special in my heart because like I have not experienced a thrill like that in a multiplayer game at that point in like a long time, right? Because like it was that thing where I have no concept of what's behind this next door, but I have to go in there because I'm a naked dude with a welding mask on and I'm gonna get my butt kicked real quick if I don't get in here. So it was this terror and excitement of like, and then this unrelenting joy when you see like, you know, the Jeep go overhead and you shoot it and it explodes and you get your first chicken dinner, right? It was like, oh my God, like I just survived something. Like that was a moment, and I will never forget some of those moments when I played with my buddy. And I know a lot of people hated it. I loved the Xbox version because it was janky, but it was the fun kind of janky that you played, right? It was kind of like Skyrim where it's like, oh, my pants just flew off, but I love it. It's funny as hell. So I love this. So yeah, PUBG is a genre defining game, and I love it very much.
So I didn't want to say anything beforehand because I didn't want to skew anyone's opinion of it, but I thought it was really interesting that it took this long for PUBG to get claimed. Because if we were doing this draft in December 2017,
it would be number one.
PUBG would have been first round guaranteed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's interesting how time has clouded some of that. Or I don't even know if clouded is the right word. It's just like that, you know, these games have evolved, their influence has spread out and, you know, rippled out in different directions. But if like it was so hot in 2017, the idea of that not being a first round pick then would have been absurd.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just that PUBG, the reason I hesitated because I was going to pick PUBG or Fortnite, and I picked Fortnite because it is still in a strong position and people think of it fondly, whereas PUBG has not really after like 2018 kind of started to that fire kind of started to fade and wane. And that's why I didn't pick it.
At least here, because I've heard that PUBG is way more popular internationally, and that only here in the States is Fortnite considered like the banner battle royale game.
PUBG Mobile is, I think, the most popular game in India. I know the Indian audience for it is huge. So like, yeah, it's just us us stupid Western folk who are like dead game. It's like no,
You guys like Fortnite. You hate soccer. What's wrong with you?
yeah. So PUBG, good game. John, give us your next pick here.
All right, so this is tough because I am probably going off the list for this.
Ooh.
All right. So yeah, I have the next two picks, and I don't know if I should go with two fighting games or just go with one.
Okay.
It was
should go with two.
Year.
Yeah. Yeah. Please go with two.
All right. Well, so for the
more
first
obscure,
one,
the better.
For the first one, it's not on this list, and I'm surprised it's not because it was the revival of a long-loved franchise.
Oh, I think.
And it's been great since it released in 2017. They've only made the game better. It's finally kind of sunsetted its development. But Tekken 7 is easily one of the best games of 2017. And I mean, you throw Akuma in there, you tie him into the Mishima bloodline story, like in a kind of a cool way. You bring back a bunch of old favorite characters. You add like the slow motion, like super tense attacks that happen like when your life's super low. That game just whips so hard.
The soundtrack rules too.
Oh yeah, like everything about it. The story, like the overall story mode, kind of lame, but like playing that game is a delight. And it is probably the best Tekken since 3.
Yeah,
easily.
I agree with that.
3 or 4. I really like. Or sorry, not 4. 5. I liked 5 quite a bit, but like 6 was a misstep for me. 7 was just such a return to form, and really set the stage for what they might do next. But yeah, Tekken 7 definitely on the list. This one, do I go with the other fighting game or do I go with my heart? And I feel like I haven't gone with my heart yet.
Heart's feeling lonely.
Always go with your heart.
Always go with my heart.
Heart of the cards.
Not on the list. But it retroactively became one of my favorite games of 2017 when I played it. And that's Ys 8. Lacrimosa of Dana. It's one of the best hack and slash games that I've played in years. It has actually a really cool and compelling story to it. Like the first half's a cool mystery. If you haven't played Ys 8 yet, you're probably missing out on like 20 hours of just pure fun.
I barely know how to spell it. I have not played it. So
YS.
Yeah.
YS 8.
All right. Total surprise pick.
That's from my from the heart.
I respect it.
That's good.
That's a series I've always wanted to get into. I've never played it.
It needs more respect.
I've admired them from afar.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, now here's the time. Time is now. Do I take something I feel like would cause a reaction? Do I keep following my heart? These are the questions I have.
Check your
Jen.
texts, Alex.
Wow, that's just incredibly rude. I don't know why you'd send me that, Joe. I thought we were friends. There are a couple of games on here that, like John talked about, retroactively have become some of my favorites in their respective series. There's a game in here that pioneered basically my interest in a new genre. But
yeah,
I think
Dirt 4. Yes.
John, might I say you've had some of my favorite jokes today between this and the stream. You were on fire today, and I appreciate you for it.
Arms really got him into fighting games.
I learned how to love through Arms, Alex.
Oh yeah.
I think I am going to go with Little Nightmares. Oh, I was gonna go with something else that I changed my mind. I'm gonna do it anyways. Little Nightmares.
Wow.
Not a game I played until.
Wow. You really could have reversed course on that, but you didn't.
You stuck with it.
Yeah.
The little.
I think Alex is out of this race.
Little Nightmares.
Alex, you just did the podcast equivalent of someone like running off a diving board, doing a big confident dive, chickening out at the last second, and then tipping over into the water anyway.
This is why I don't vote with my heart, because I get made fun of. I just put it out there. I'm like,
I
yes,
appreciate it.
Like
You just have to
slash down.
do it with your whole heart, Alex. No uncertainty. Little Nightmares 2. That is your pick.
Yeah.
Be its champion.
That's your
It's
pick.
Warrior.
it's the first Little Nightmares, not the second one.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is.
right.
Unfortunately.
Little Nightmares, though, is one of the best atmospheric games of that year, right? I feel like it paints in a similar vein of like Limbo and Inside, right? It paints this like diseased, decrepit, terrifying portrait of whatever this world is, and it captures that essence of being a kid in an adult world, like in a very disturbing way, right? Like the body horror almost is hard to watch, right? The platforming is a little janky, but it does its job, right? And there's some sequences in there that are thrilling and terrifying, and I think I have a hard time separating my personal connection with it, right? Because I did get to play it with like my fiance and her sister in COVID era, and like that's a bonding moment for us, right? Like we really like we experienced the highs and lows of that together, and screamed together and laughed together, and it's such a fun game, and that's why I was so much looking forward to the Little Nightmares 2, because like they were excited to play that with me too. So very good game, available most places. My last pick, and I think a damn good one, no matter how much I waffled beforehand. So so there you
That's
go.
right.
Yeah,
Little
there we
Nightmares
go.
2 feels a little disrespected, or the first one, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
it is. I think I like 2 better, but I like some of the world building and storytelling in the first one, I think, a little better. Just because it probably felt new at the time too. But anyways, Joe, last good pick, right?
Yeah, boy. So I have one that I feel like, even in a list that's being true to myself, would just tank the votes. So I may avoid that, and still
your heart, Joe.
Your heart.
Well,
Hypocrite.
We're living with our heart on our sleeve.
yeah. Well, my heart's pulling me in 2 different directions here, as you guys know might happen. So I think the other one I'm going to go with is Night in the Woods.
Oh,
yeah.
Which there's some controversy surrounding that game and its creator, who was, there were some accusations against him. I believe he committed suicide.
Yeah, he's
or I'm sorry, he killed himself. He died by suicide.
Yeah,
committed is no longer the way you're supposed to say that, and I have to work that. Yeah, I have to work that out.
I did not know that.
But anyway, so like that sort of behind the scenes stuff to the side, that game itself was just such a charming, interesting, and unique game. Like I've played a lot of story-driven games and never one quite like that, right? That did such a good job of just like capturing these sort of irreverent, jokey conversations that friends just sit and have with themselves. And the sort of the weird feeling of the small town, like everyone knows everyone's business kind of stuff. There's just so many. Well, and then just an overall mystery being told too. So there's all of that stuff that just comes together in just such a clever, fun little game that I think if you are the kind of player like me who enjoys a break sometimes from games that use like violence as their primary vocabulary, I think that's the Night in the Woods is a great one to check out. It's I hesitate to use the word cozy because that refers to other things in games sometimes, maybe a little more Stardew Valley kind of stuff, but it just has a very like small, quaint, modest kind of scope to it, but in a way, but it's still sort of it's telling a relatable and interesting story.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I really like that game.
Oh, good. Yeah,
I
you guys
love that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all in on it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Choice.
Great.
Yeah. Joe's like
French
sweating.
Joe.
Yeah, no. Please explain to me why this is good.
So another thing I want to point out so I don't want to take any, or I don't want to steal anyone's thunder if they're going to pick this game. But when you're dealing with a game or with a year that has as many good games as this one, even a panel of 5 people who play games as a job, they're going to miss stuff, right? So I feel like there are some games on this list that are probably still on this list only because none of us really played them or gave a lot of time to them. The one I look at specifically and think that for is Pyre,
Yes.
which is a Supergiant game that I have just heard nothing but good things for and just have never personally made the time for it yet. But everyone I know who has played it.
Vanikin's face is very telling right now.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Joe, because Pyre is my last pick.
It is. Okay, good. Please then I would like you to talk about
it is actually out. Hades changed this, but it was my favorite Supergiant game. I like it better than Bastion and Transistor. I hesitate to call it combat, but the active game, the playing soccer in that game, right?
Yeah,
that's
Magic,
essentially what it is.
Basketball, whatever.
Yeah, it is so much fun. I love the gameplay of the actual game of Pyre, but the whole conceit of helping these people to, ascend essentially, and like the consequence of like that feeling that when you finally like help people to reach where they're trying to go through this game is super cool. I love the characters. I need to replay Pyre. It's been so long.
Rookie.
It's been since 5. Yeah, exactly, Marcus. It's been 5 years, but I don't really remember, the beat to beat with like the different characters, but I remember there being like lots of standouts. I like Rookie a lot. But yeah, that game's just super cool. The whole going as a caravan and like, running into these characters unexpectedly and deciding, if they're going to join you, like how they're going to join your crew and if you're going to help them do ascend or whatever. It was a cool game. But the gameplay is what really kind of drove it home for me back then.
I'm itching to plug right now because
checked out.
Marcus and I are currently, for video gameography, we're going over the games of Supergiant games. So our May 7th episode is going to be about Pyre. That's the next one that we're actually going to be recording. So I'm going to be playing a bunch of Pyre this weekend.
Nice.
So listen to that episode if you want to know more about that game. We also, I guess, if you're listening to this next week, there's a Bastion episode out now, and then our next episode that'll be out is Transistor, and of course we'll do Hades
put Pyre on
off.
Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Games are.
Yeah, just not Xbox.
Yeah.
I'll do a plug here too on Kim's behalf, because I'm pretty sure it was a year or 2 ago she wrote a great in-depth history of Supergiant. We're going through the development of not like Pyre included, but of all of their games. So that's another thing that she just did a great job on that. I would recommend reading that also.
Oh yeah, that's definitely been a resource for our research too. Yeah.
It is not on Switch, unfortunately.
Pyre isn't?
Nope.
Just PlayStation, right?
That's weird because
PlayStation
is.
Yeah, I remember actually. Yeah, you're right. There was like a news story I looked up where they explained why it wasn't on Switch or Xbox.
Huh.
And it's more like dev resources, like, hey, we're not a big team, so
Interesting.
Porting stuff is work.
Right.
Well, Alex, even as someone who never played Pyre myself, but who has enjoyed every Supergiant game I have played, I am glad you picked that one, because it's like I imagine just the voices of my friends who I know are big fans just screaming behind me, yelling like, why, how could you leave Pyre unchosen in that year?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So
that was it was between that and there's only one pick left, and I don't know if he's gonna pick it or not, but it was between that and Wolfenstein 2 for me. But I just felt like Pyre.
Yeah.
Pyre has my heart more, even though the twists and stuff in Wolfenstein 2, some of the storytelling in that game,
good.
so sick.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein 2 just as a collection of moments, I think,
Yeah.
tops anything that came out that year.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But I had to go with my gut, and that's Pyre.
There you go. I also, this is may only be amusing to me, but I also love that this is probably the only year that I could just move the Y if I misspelled pyre and it would be prey, and people would think you picked prey instead of
Yeah,
fire.
another great
The
game.
fix is in.
Yeah. I misspelled it. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. All right, Marcus, we've been dying.
Is
I
this
can't
it? Are you gonna
wait
go for it?
to
This is
hear
it.
what this is.
All right. I hope this works. I need this to come through. Here we go. You ready?
Oh, I gotta get mine.
John Cena.
All right, guys, here we go. The time is now. The pick you've been waiting for. For the audio listeners, Van Aiken is holding up his blank sheet of paper with his hand over it.
What if I didn't write anything on it? It's still blank.
And then you cheat. It's like, oh, it's a wild card. It could be anything. So my last pick is a game that did come out this year, and it wasn't a game that I didn't play at the time until very, very recently, but I loved it. And that is Doki Doki Literature Club.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, what did
Van
Alex
Aiken?
think it
You
was?
didn't reveal it too quickly.
Oh!
I'm glad we didn't bet.
Goragoa was your pick?
That's what I thought you were gonna pick.
Is that
It seems like a very Marcus
2017?
game.
That,
I
that
did
does seem
enjoy
like a
that.
Marcus game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it enough. Yeah, I like Goragoa. So you're not like completely off base, but no, it is not Goragoa. Doki Doki Literature Club. First and foremost, am I the only one here that has played that game to completion?
I know what
think so,
happens, but
yeah.
I haven't played it myself.
I finished that one on when it came the year it came out. I haven't played it the new versions of it though.
I'm still unspoiled.
Okay, we're not
Ooh.
spoiling anything, and that's
No, that's
tricky
fine, that's
to
fine.
gush about this game because this game is known for a twist. I'll talk about what the premise of the game is on its face. So, like, it is a visual novel where you play as a high school kid who gets basically coerced into joining his friend's kind of up and coming literature club, which is the membership consists of 4 really pretty girls. And that's kind of his incentive to stick around. He's not like a reader or a literature guy, but he's like, oh, well, you know, one, my best friend, I don't want to let her down, but also these girls are really cute. Maybe something can come of this. And so you spend the game, you know, it goes through about a week. I think it's like a week or so where every day you're just going there. And it plays it pretty straight of like, oh, you're talking to each of them, you're getting to know them. You're like, oh, this girl, she's really quiet and shy. This one's kind of loud, but she's got like a softer side. And
if you've played any sort of visual novel romance kind of thing, like it adheres very closly to that formula for the first part of the game.
yeah, you're just like, oh yeah, like there's some like light dialogue choices of like, oh, how do I get them to like me? You're kind of picking, you know, like the poetry aspect is the only thing that represents it is like sometimes you gotta like you get like a pool of words that you kind of miss and match based on like some words appeal to some girls better. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna make a poem that appeals to Yuri because I think she's the one I want to like court, basically.
Right.
And you do this for a while, and I will say this part, you almost forget because the only tip off that something is amiss is in the very beginning of the game when you boot it up and there is a disturbing content warning, and you're like, huh, what's that about? Because then it leads to like bubblegum meme menu music. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. So you forget about it. And I would say this game, the first part goes on longer than you think. And it's actually really endearing. Like it is a well-written game where I almost forgot that something was supposed to be coming. So I'm like, oh no, I'm genuinely like, I like these personalities. I think I actually do want to get to know these girls. Like there's some little story arcs here with them. Like this seems nice. And then a thing happens. The game, the best way I can describe it is that the game is a lot more self-aware than maybe you think. And it flips everything that you've seen about it on its head and goes into some very shocking places that is it's so well done and it's so genuinely unsettling but so smart at the same time that it like because it's one of those games I also think maybe you'd be better going through it in one sitting because it's not that long. But I played it for the first time like at literally the beginning of this year, like January 1st or something, because it's free. It releases a free game on PC and it's still free if you want to check it out on Steam. Like you said, they released that the Plus edition last year that added like new scenes and stuff that you do have to pay for. but I've never really played. I've played like some visually novelty games and whatever, but that one just had me hooked. Like, or I was like, I need to see this all the way through because, like, and I hadn't been spoiled either. I just knew that a
There's something.
turn was coming, but
that's
I
really
didn't.
all I know. Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't know the nature of it or when it would happen. But when it comes, like, and it's one thing because again, I think it holds that straight face long enough where you start to wonder, like, isn't there supposed to be a thing? And then when when it happens, it hits you like a truck, and
Well,
it just.
I think Marcus makes a really good point with that too, though, where if your point is if your point with the game is to like, okay, we're going to subvert expectations and sort of do a twist or do something strange, I think it would be easy to not take the first part of the game seriously as you're making it, right? Or to be sort of like, okay, this is all just a facade that we're constructing quickly so
Let's
we can
phone
get
it in.
So we can get to the thing that we're really interested in. And this game doesn't do that. Like I think it, like Marcus said, it actually builds a situation and builds characters in a way that does make you genuinely curious about it. It's not just it's not just like throwaway set dressing just to get you to the good part, you know?
Yeah, because I think when the turn happens, they build those characters up so well that you actually almost feel bad when the twist comes for them.
Interesting.
And like you're almost like, oh man, I'm kind of bummed out that this is where we are now. Not
You
like
kind of want to keep playing the game as it started.
Yeah, because again, some really bad things happen. And you're like, oh no, okay. Wow. So this is a game. I wrote a feature about this earlier this year about like just compiling games like this. This is a weird, like, it's not even really a genre, but like games that like subvert expectations and are like a lot. I think the feature's called like great games that are more than meets the eye, because like these are hard games to recommend to people because on the surface it might be something, it looks like something maybe someone might not be into, because again, you look at Doki Doki, if you're not a visual novel person or you have like a perception about what those games are, you're going to turn your nose up at it. And you know, the Steam page or whatever doesn't tell you like, hey, there's a whole other thing here. You have to kind of like lead people in, like, just trust me, play it. I know that you like a certain thing, and this game does not look like that thing, but I swear to you, it is that thing.
Inscription maybe is like that also, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So like, this is me. I guess, you know, this game's been out 5 years now, obviously, and it, like I said, it got re-released last year. But if you've not played Doki Doki Literature Club, it's absolutely worth your time. Like I said, it's free on Steam. It doesn't take that long to get through. And then also, if you do play it, stick with it. Like, you'll think that like it's taking too long to get to the thing. It will be worth it, and you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Alrighty. Well, let's do lightning round real quick with the bad
Also,
games.
Alex, you
here.
spelled it Dookie Dookie Literature Club.
I'm leaving it.
He's trying to tip the scales already. Influence votes.
I'm genuinely curious to see how the community takes to that. I don't know. I don't have a sense of like how many of our readers have played the game or what they think of it. So that'll be a fun one to look at.
Someone spoiled it for me, but I don't remember it now. So maybe I will go play it. The whatever the twist is. But anyways, so
But after you finish Edith Finch, right?
yes, exactly. On the
You're gonna
plane.
play both on the plane.
I'm just gonna be
back.
sobbing at one
Games,
point,
honestly.
screaming.
Do
at
not play
another.
that one on the
shaking.
plane.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. All
Do
right.
not.
I will. But now it makes me want to play. Anyways, okay. Lightning round, bad games. Marcus, you're up. What's your pick here? I'm gonna give you 20 seconds.
Well, you know, I got to go with Tokyo Tattoo Girls, right?
Of course. Sure.
You know, the old TTG.
I love TTGs.
as I like to call it. I think I looked up one like screenshot of it and was immediately like, oh, is this really what I'm going to go with? But
Exactly what you thought it would be.
It worked for
it's
Alex
kind of
last
like
time.
maybe it'll be like Doki Doki, but like I guess bad.
Yeah. VA.
Mine is Dying Reborn because
Damn it.
what a stupid name for a game.
I
Dying
like that you wanted
Resurrection.
I wanted it so bad. It was
There
the
was a
worst name
fight
ever.
over Dying Reborn.
Dying Reborn. What does that mean?
I don't know. We should play it though.
Death resurrected.
Yeah. Joe Juba.
All right, I'm going off the list. I did a little digging around, found a game that's a 54 on Metacritic, which I think is
do you want to guess what it is?
Sonic
My
Mania.
entire list. Yeah.
Wow.
It's Valkyria Revolution, which is the
Yeah,
the Valkyria
all right.
Chronicles game.
yeah, except not really. The Valkyria Chronicles games are like well done strategy strategy RPGs, and this is just a terrible action RPG.
Oh no.
I reviewed it. It is bad, but I pick it only because as the biggest fan of Valkyria Chronicles that I know, I feel like if people play Valkyria Revolution and see how bad it is, maybe it will give them a new appreciation for how good the good Valkyria games are. And then maybe, Valkyria Chronicles 4, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, those are always on sale. They're always so cheap. They're like $10 or free or whatever. Check them out. They're great.
Buy them.
Agreed.
Me, it's Vroom in the Night Sky because
No!
it's fun to say, you know?
Yeah. Can you put some emphasis on that? Like, vroom.
Vroom, vroom.
Isn't that the premise to Harry Potter 2? The second
Yes.
Harry Potter game?
Yeah.
Where
That
they
was
like,
actually the original name of the Hagrid ride at Universal.
yeah, Vroom in the Night.
Sky. Yeah. Alrighty. John, the
Yeah.
Mr. Irrelevant pick here. What do you
Well,
got?
we're going with another fighting game. It's Toho Kabuto 5 Burst Battle.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up. I was going to go with Vroom in the Night Sky because I remember that being...
That's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie.
so what it is, you are a witch like cruising around in the sky, and I remember this game being like one of the first like Switch eShop games that was like on the store, but like didn't come out till like September, so it was always on like the coming soon page, and it always looked like total trash.
That's incredible.
So
Also-
yeah, Vroom in the Night Sky. Check it
Also, is a witch on a broom? That's what that game is?
out. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be like,
Vroom?
would you make fun of a kid that got on a broom mocking that they were a witch and said vroom? Like, you're like, that's not how brooms work. They don't have engines. You don't use that sound effect.
Sorry, it's a witch that rides a motorcycle through the sky.
Oh, even better. I need to play this game now.
Look it up. It looks like complete garbage. It's great.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, folks, that's a list. Let's go down them because we got some powerhouses here. John kicked us off here, right? Breath of the Wild, Nier 2017, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Tekken 7, Ys 8, right? Ys. Okay. And then Toho Kabuto 5.
Nailed it.
The best one in the series, I hear.
The best one.
I think John has a strong chance of winning based on his first two picks.
Yeah, but when people are voting on these, do they get to? Is there a clear indicator that the last game is like we had no choice but to pick a bad game?
Yeah. I will reiterate in the Discord chat, but yes, that is the if they've listened, they kind of know that from.
We should
from
highlight
last
that pick in like
months.
red or something.
Yeah, I can. Or just put like the bad game or whatever. So, my list: Mario Odyssey, Horizon Zero Dawn, Resident Evil 7, PUBG, Little Nightmares, and Vroom.
That's a really good list.
That's a
hearing them
good
all together.
list. Yeah.
I'm kind of worried now.
Yeah. Joe Juba, guest of the hour, or 2 hours, however long we've been doing this. Persona 5, Yakuza 0, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Hellblade, Night in the Woods, and Valkyria Revolution.
Man,
Another really good list. I'm like, every time you go down, I'm worried.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to VA, who has a list of his own. Fortnite, Hollow Knight, Destiny 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Pyre, and Dying Reborn.
That's Alex. That's a solid ass list.
That's
as well. Like
yeah. And then Marcus, who championed the indies. I love to see it. What Remains of Edith Finch, Sonic Mania, Cuphead, Uncharted, the best indie of them all, and Doki Literature Club. That is my fault, not a reflection of the game. And then Tokyo Tattoo Girls TTG.
Yeah, my list is like the Mighty Ducks. Like, we're the ragtag, like, bad kids that, you know, on the surface we suck, but, you know, we come together.
Right.
We got a good coach. We get the nice uniforms at the end of the movie.
What are your Bash Brothers of those games?
Oh man, that's a good question. Let us know. Discord.
Yeah, in the
Vote.
comments below.
You all vote for mine.
Yeah.
See, so I just dug up my old. Well, I didn't just. I took a picture earlier of my personal top 10 from 2017.
Mhm.
So at least I'm consistent. Persona 5 was my number one.
Yeah.
They're on the list.
Mhm.
Horizon, Edith Finch, Night in the Woods, Uncharted, Lost Legacy, Life is Strange Before the Storm,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age.
Yeah.
I wasn't
great.
thinking about that. That was good. Nier Automata, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. And then at number 10 is the one that I was going to pick, but thought it would tank the voting on my list, which is Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yep.
Ah, yeah.
Mhm.
I have
Which
mine. Oh no, go Joe.
I was just going to say, like, I know that people have very negative opinions on that, and I totally acknowledge flaws in that game. But there are lots of good things about that game too that I think got overshadowed in all of the, the ruckus around it.
100%. I agree. I'm also surprised you didn't look at the game. I was between Little Nightmares and Metroid Samus Returns, and I thought you were going to take Samus Returns, Joe, at some point.
Yeah, actually, I didn't play Samus Returns until last year, right before Dread came out.
Wow. Okay.
And it was okay. I don't know what it was. Something didn't sing about it for me. But
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know you at all. Some interesting choices left on the board here. Prey, Wolfenstein 2,
Yeah,
Assassin's
that was
Creed
a big one.
Origins. I was very surprised that's still on the
It's
list.
I
no
hovered
Odyssey.
over that for a while.
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking about Origins too. For me, the trick about that one was like, I think I've grown to appreciate it a little more with time, but I was actually not super into that when it came out because it followed Syndicate, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I loved Syndicate. And Origins is just such a reboot in so many ways that I think, Ubisoft refined that formula and improved it across Odyssey and Valhalla, but it still felt to me a little like rough. And I was still stinging a little bit from the fact that like, this is not what I think an Assassin's Creed game should be.
Fair.
So that's a lot more of a me problem than an Assassin's Creed Origins problem.
Right.
But
Mm.
that's why I didn't grab that one, even though I generally love that series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, great list. I will have this up on our Discord channel very soon, where you can vote on who won this draft. I love these. These are a lot of fun. Joe, I hope you had fun as well. And Marcus, too. This was your first draft, I believe, right? Or were you a part of the last one?
No, this is
No.
my first one. I'm hoping to go 1-0. Probably isn't going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Sonic
never know.
Mania is going to push you over the edge, man.
Go
That's-
fast, baby. Yeah.
I'd vote for it.
Yeah. Joe, do you want to plug anything before we say goodbye to the beautiful people?
Yeah, the big thing I'd want to plug is just what I was talking about a little bit earlier with Chrono Cross and the Deepest Dive over at MinMax. That's MinMax with 2 N's. We're doing like a 4-episode dive into that game to create, as Ben Hansen likes to call it, the best, most thorough discussion about Chrono Cross on the internet. That's 4 episodes. Each one is going to be about like 3 hours long. So we're really digging into specific portions. And my favorite part of these discussions is always just the community questions and comments about it. People write in with just the most fascinating, specific observations and tricks about that kind of stuff. So head over to MinMax with 2 N's on Patreon, support them, and check out the Chrono Cross Deepest Dive.
There you go. Cool. Well, Joe, I appreciate your time. You are missed, and we're so happy that you were able to come on today. And I'm happy you're doing well. So
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been my pleasure. It's been great to chat with all you guys.
yeah. So be sure to check out everything Joe said. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We didn't do housekeeping this week. We promise we will next week because Alex and I have some busy stuff coming up, or me, not so much because I'm on vacation. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. You know the whole thing. Be good to one another, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.